Here tonight. I'd like to go ahead and call our meeting to order, and I'll go ahead and do a roll call. So Ward 1,
Present.
Ward 2,
Present.
Ward 3,
Present.
Ward 4,
Present.
Actually, I'm missing Melissa. Was Melissa going to be with me? I just realized. Okay, yeah. Okay, great. And I'll invite everyone to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. And so this evening, on the agenda, we have some presentations. We have Bruno here this evening, as well as, it's not on the agenda right now, but DC Dow will be here, one of the only DC Dow, and we also have some distinguished guests with us this evening. Hey, Mr. Thomas. He's one of them. We have Delegate Fernand. We have Senator Augustine. And we have Dejanine Fennell from Good Intentions Foundation. And I don't know if we have anyone else. And that is it in regards to presentations. We have our consent agenda under approval of minutes. We currently have none. Under department operation reports, we have the town administrator and public works reports. We have the treasurer's report for April 2025, and we have public safety and code compliance. We'll then go into the news report, council member reports and concerns. We'll open it up for resident comments, either in person or online. Under our action items, under unfinished business, we have the FY 2026 budget. Under new business, we have resolution R16 2025 CBC assistance grant, and then R17 2025 CBC resolution. And then we'll adjourn. I'm going to add one more thing to this agenda, which is just a quick discussion on the interim town administrator. We'll just have just a quick conversation with that, and then we'll move forward. So I'd like to go ahead and request a motion to approve the agenda for this evening.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I'll make that motion stated.
Councilmember Emirates, I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Awesome. Oh, yes. Sorry. Before we get started with Greenwell, I'd like to invite our guests. If you want to say anything, please feel welcome to. Senator Augustine, Delegate Fennell, if there's anything that you'd like to share or...
Okay, sure. Good evening, everyone. Senator Malcolm Augustine, District 47. Very pleased to be here. Was here actually through the Delegate Fennell. Obviously, she's from the town. She mentioned you all had a presentation, so we wanted to come down here and be supportive of that. We did obviously just complete our legislative session, so that was a very challenging one. We won't go into deep detail on that. What I will share is, though, is that one of the things that we did do is have a bond bill for Post 131, which we were able to fund them at $158,000. I think that's going to go towards certain improvements down at the post, and just know that we're here to be helpful and grateful for all the things that you all do here in the town. And good luck with your budget also, because we had a hard time with ours. So good luck.
But thank you, Mayor called me, and it's an honor for me to be here. I live here in Colmar Manor, and I wanted to make sure that I came. When she called, I come. I just want to say to hi to everybody, this family here, and I live here. And also in reference to the American Legion, Colmar Manor American Legion, we brought bond bill back. I know we brought bond bill back in reference to the Robert Gilles Park. We look forward to the ribbon cutting for it, and also for the park that's on Bladesbury Road. Let's say, what is it? What is the park? United Park. So we look forward to all that in reference to Rimington and then being able to support each and every one of you. So it's good to see so many familiar faces. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So DC Bell isn't here yet. If you could give us a couple minutes, we'll get started with Limo, and then hopefully by the time Limo is done with their presentation, they'll have gotten here. I just texted him, so. I promised everyone beer, so he can't let me down.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Great pleasure to be here today, and thank you for the time that you've given me today. Again, I'm here to provide an overview of the legislative session, but also just want to take some time to speak on some of the priorities we worked on specifically for Colmar Manor. So I'll start with the legislative overview. As you can see, the agenda is a bit heavy, so I'll try to be as efficient as possible, but I'll make sure to leave time at the end for questions. So as we are all aware, this legislative session was going to be shaped by a significant fiscal pressure. The legislators were coming in January with a $396 million shortfall for fiscal year 2025. And there was also a $2.9 billion deficit projected for fiscal year 2026. So they definitely had their work cut out for them. And we saw that this led to some aggressive budget reforms. And particularly, I saw this in House Bill 352. This is the Budget Reconciliation Financing Act. This budget bill had quite a few cuts, and also it was able to raise $1.2 billion in new revenue. So the cuts were primarily through the general fund. This saw a $1.6 billion reduction. But we also saw the new revenue I mentioned, and this was done through a variety of methods. We saw a 3% IT tax introduced. There's also a tax increase for various industries like the cannabis industry. They'll be seeing an increase from 9 to 12%. Also with those who like gaming and sports wagering, that's also getting an increase. So that will go from 15 to 20%. And we also did see a capital gains surtax. So these were just some of the few measures that they took to help bring in revenue. That was a bit of the challenge that they were seeing. They had to be able to make some cuts across the agencies and make sure that they were being efficient in doing so, because a lot of local governments, such as you all, they had concerns with cuts being made to Department of Transportation, possible cuts to other state agencies, because there are ongoing projects that need help. So it was really great to see some of the surpluses that came in through their reforms. We also saw a $315 million surplus at the end of the session, and they did reduce the deficit for fiscal year 2027 from $2.9 billion to $155 million. So that was definitely a big cut right there. They also continued to support a number of priorities, including the Blueprint Fund. These are mandates that help support K-12 education, aiming to have Maryland as one of the leading states in education. So they saw $615 million allocated for that. We also, as I mentioned, Department of Transportation, that was a big concern. There is a $11.2 billion shortfall that was projected, but the state was able to allocate $1.3 billion for transportation. Also, one that was quite controversial, there was a cut proposed by Governor Moore to the Developmental Disabilities Administration, but the House and Senate was very strong in their response. They did not want those cuts to go through. We also saw many advocates coming up to Annapolis, which continues to show the importance of making sure we use our voices, because they do listen when we go up there. So because of those efforts, we saw $181 million restored for that administration, which was definitely a great success. And also there was $338 million allocated for cancer research, broadband expansion, and also local economic development. So despite the challenges for the fiscal budget, I do think there were some great successes. We are continuing to monitor some of these reforms that are going to be enacted July 1st. Main one being that 3% IT tax. We understand that there is some unclarity on how that could affect the day-to-day services that you all use. So we did reach out to the comptroller's office and are working to get a presentation for you all, just so we can understand this a little bit more closely. In addition to just the legislative overview, there were a few priorities that we worked on specifically for Colmar Manor. As you heard, we knew coming into the session that it was going to be tight fiscally. We understood that they were going to be looking at various places to make cuts, and that sometimes includes unspent allocations. So with that Literacy Park funding being out there, we just wanted to make sure that we remained in communication with the legislators. Senator Augustine and Delegate Fennell were the ones who originally sponsored this. So just maintaining communication also with the budget committee. But as they mentioned, that funding was still there. It's still there. And we are currently still working with you all just to make sure the application goes through and it's approved before the Board of Public Works. But we did have a conversation with the department when we ran into some issues. So that should be on the agenda in the upcoming meetings. In addition to this, we also continue to prioritize relationship building with your legislators. We think it's very important not to just go to them when we have an ask, but to just maintain that ongoing communication. So I was very excited that you all were able to come to Annapolis. Each and every one of you made that effort. And I really just want to thank you for that. I think you all played such an active role this session. I think it was quite a fruitful meetings that we had with Senator Augustine and Delegate Fennell. And it's just always important to make sure that we keep them up to date on what's going on in Colmar Manor. So again, thank you for coming and helping coordinate that. And just wrapping up on the priorities, we also monitored a number of bills that came in. As you know, thousands of bills are introduced each session. So it's very important for our team to make sure we notify you of which ones could have a direct impact. There were a few that we supported, such as House Bill 343. This was looking to help allow for trained personnel to certify the speed camera violations. It was led by MML, so we worked closely with them to make sure that we supported it because we understand police officers, there are shortages, there are budget cuts, there are other priorities that they may need to focus on. So now they can have that additional help from a technician to help approve those. We also continue to monitor House Bill 372, and Mayor Casañas testified on that as well this session. This is a bill sponsored by Senator Augustine regarding the Prince George's Gateway Development Authority, which again, you all have a seat on the board. So this bill looked to remove the 2028 sunset, which is great because it shows a long-term investment in this authority. And again, it gets funding, which can help support projects in Colmar Manor and the other municipalities that align with revitalization goals. And we also posed quite a few bills. I won't go through all of them today, but they mainly propose changes to traffic enforcement, election procedures, tax deadlines, and annexation. So we, again, thank you for always responding quickly when we reach out and getting those letters of support or opposition in, coming in to testify. And we are very happy to report that none of the bills you officially opposed passed. So that was a great success. And we hope to continue seeing that in the future. In terms of the interim, I'm looking ahead. The work does not stop when session ends. We do have quite a few things to work on, like the application that we mentioned for Literacy Park, and also just making sure that we identify any grant opportunities and making sure that we have that planning meeting we like to have with you all to establish those priorities for the upcoming months. So that is something I will be reaching out just to get a date on the calendar. But I know that was a lot, so I'll just stop there and answer any questions or feedback.
Thank you for your help, and I know that you kind of gave us props for going to Annapolis, but we wouldn't have been there if it weren't for you. So I just want to thank Greenwell, and I want to thank our representatives for always being so hospitable and open to speaking with us. So we really appreciate it. I enjoy going down to Annapolis and and really just talking about our town. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I don't have any questions or comments. Does anyone else? No? Oh, yes.
I didn't know we were doing like legislative review. So since we did legislative review, I just want to say to the town that your council, and it's my fault for not saying so, your council did come down to Annapolis and were very well received, significantly because they came when they weren't making a real ask. And that really does make a difference because a lot of times folks they'll come to us when there's a problem or there's trouble or something like that. It makes it a whole lot easier when we're able to work with each other in times when times are not of trouble. So it's just very, very important. I will say that. The other thing that I will say is that although Leslie, who works very well for you all, she's down there quite a bit. She really does. She didn't, it's up there on the list, but Senate Bill 808, which I did put in for stop sign monitoring, it had to do with having stop signs around school bus stops. And it didn't make it because we were trying to extend it. Now I know that in this town, in your town, you all have taken the definition to allow for basically the stop signs anywhere in your town. But there was some concern around making sure that we had the places where school bus stops are safe for our children. And like, that's not necessarily so close to a school in the way that the other definitions were there. The other thing that I will share with you, sometimes it's not what gets passed, it's sometimes other things that happen. There was another stop sign, another bill related to speed enforcement that had an amendment on it that was going to reduce the size of the school zone from a half mile to a quarter mile, for which I just went ballistic, actually, because we want to protect our kids. And what it would have done is that it would have shrank where you could have put the speed cameras by right to a much smaller area. Thankfully, I was able to work with my colleague who put this amendment on. He had his reasons that he wanted to do it, but this is state law. Work with him for us to do a study instead of changing that definition of a school safety zone. So it's back to where it was. But I just want you to know that sometimes it's not what we do pass. It's like sometimes it's things like Leslie was saying is things that we don't, that we do our best not to get passed. But I just want to say to the town, once again, really grateful for you all coming down, making that presentation before us, coming multiple times, quite frankly. I mean, y'all were down there. And it's just really much appreciated. It helps us to do our job. I've said that to you all before. It really does help. So I just want to say thank you, give you guys kudos. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just also want to add that Leslie's, she does a wonderful job. She sits down and running off the floor. She's great and sits there. We want to make sure that she has.
I think the same way that she probably texts and knocks on your door and waits for you, she does that with us too. I'm always getting text messages like, man, and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna reply to you right now. So we appreciate you. So thank you for everything that you do.
And it's good seeing family come home.
Yeah. Mm. All right, so yeah. Thank you. Okay, so we actually have Brandon Skull here from DC Brow. So he's the CEO of DC Brow. So I'll go ahead and share with you my story about DC Brow. When we first moved to Colmar Manor about 10 plus years ago, some of the first places that I went to were the American Legion because they had karaoke there. And we were excited there was a bar in town. And then we happened to find out about DC Brow, which is also like within walking distance of our town, and we fell in love. So that made us fall in love with the town even more because yes, I do like beer. And I knew there were certain things that I wanted to happen when I became mayor if I was elected. But what I really didn't announce is that I wanted to have a beer named after one of our historic places in the town. And so I had been kind of hounding DC Brow for a couple of years because I wanted to have something related to the dueling ground. I think it's such a a unique historic marker in our town that people don't know about. You see it in our town seal. You see the dueling guns and you see the swords, but people don't always stop when they're passing through to understand what that means. So if you haven't heard, when dueling was outlawed in Washington, D.C., people came to the outskirts of D.C. to have their duels. And they would do it by the Dueling Creek. And so we have a plaque there and we have the Dueling Creek there. And in my mind, I've always wanted to see a reenactment, which I think that they've had before. But there were some famous duels that took place there. And so when I was approaching DC Brow, I said, can you name a beer after the dueling ground? And I think something happened where finally the right time came by. And when I saw Mr. Skull, I said, hey, I'd really love to see if we can collaborate on a beer. And he said, you know, we've been thinking about that for a while, but we kind of didn't really follow through with it, but let me see what I can do. Give me a couple months. And when he said that, I don't think he knows, but after he kind of said it to me, I was jumping around. I was telling my husband, I was telling the staff at the town hall, I'm like, I think we're going to get a beer named after the dueling grounds. And finally, I didn't want to bug him too much. So I didn't, I kind of laid low, and he reached out to me and said, okay, we're doing it. In April, we're naming this Vienna lager after the dueling grounds. And it finally happened. And if you know anything about DC Brow, they have delicious beer, but they also have different themes of beers. So they've named different beers after, I think one of them is Citizen IPA, is it? You can tell us more about the beers, but I just wanted to kind of invite you to come up because I am going to proclaim the Dueling Grounds as the official beer of Colmar Manor. So let me go ahead and read this and I'll call you up. So, Town of Colmar Manor Proclamation. Whereas DC Brow Brewing Company, established in 2011, has pioneered the craft beer movement in Washington, D.C., becoming a symbol of innovation, community, and local pride. And whereas on April 7th, 2025, DC Brow unveiled Dueling Grounds Vienna Lager, a beer featuring a rich malt character and a perfectly balanced finish, crafted to showcase the excellence of local brewing. And whereas the name Dueling Grounds draws inspiration from the nearby Colmar Manor Dueling Grounds, infamously known as the Dark and Bloody Grounds, where Washington's elite once defended their honor in duels, continuing even after Congress outlawed the practice in 1839. And whereas this historic site and the beer it now inspires serve as a bold reminder of the area's dramatic past and its ongoing legacy of courage, conviction, and character. And whereas Dueling Grounds Vienna Lager represents not only a celebration of heritage, but a testament to the artistry and passion of DC's craft brewers. And whereas the introduction of this brew offers citizens and visitors alike a unique opportunity to savor local history one sip at a time. And whereas Dueling Grounds Vienna Lager is hereby recognized as the official beer of the town of Colmar Manor. So now, therefore, I recognize and commemorate the release of Dueling Grounds Vienna Lager on this day and officially recognize it as the official beer of the town of Colmar Manor. I encourage all to raise a glass in honor of our shared history, our craft beer culture, and the unmatched spirit of Washington, D.C. and Colmar Manor. Signed and entered on this day. So if you could come up and... Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Even out. What an honor this is. Absolutely. Well, thank you. Hearing you read this was like poetry. This was beautiful. I can't wait to hang this on the wall at the brewery so everybody can see it and see how much this beer means to you and to the town. We're very excited by the whole idea of the project. And yes, the mayor's right. Like several years ago, I was intrigued by the dueling grounds after I discovered it. I live in Mount Rainier, and my son and I, he had just learned to ride a bike, and we were biking all over town, and we came across the placard out there and discovered the dueling grounds that way and thought it was just the coolest thing. And you can imagine at the time, my 8-year-old son was like, whoa, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I had this idea that we would do an IPA series and name the beers after the different duels. And then, that came and went and didn't happen. And the pandemic happened and life got crazy. And then when the mayor called and suggested this idea, it was just like a spark went off. And I felt, you know what, this is what was meant to happen with this. And I'm so proud to create this product and have it here and have it mean so much to the town. I did bring some tonight, so if anybody wants to try it, we'll have some.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is such a unique slice of history, and being right down the road and really feeling like a hometown brewery, not just for Washington, D.C., but for Prince George's County and Mount Rainier and Colmar Manor and Cottage City and Hyattsville. This is really quite the honor and something that means a lot to us. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you for calling and bringing up the idea. And thank you so much for this beautiful proclamation. It will mean a lot to us at the brewery.
Yeah. So, and you can find the beer where in stores now?
So you can find the beer in stores now. The first batch went to DC and is happily depleted. The next batch is being packaged next week. It will be available all in PG County, Virginia, and DC. So it's officially fully launched next week. You should, I would say, if you're interested in having it carried at your local watering hole or wherever you shop, just let them know the DC Brau Vienna Dueling Grounds Vienna Lager, and they can order it from the distributor. Bob Hall is the name of the distributor, but it'll be all over the county, and it is a really approachable beer. It's not meant to be too, IPAs sometimes can be too bitter. It's really meant to be something that can be enjoyed by everybody. It's very approachable. You don't have to be a beer aficionado. Really, it's something that's for everybody. So please enjoy it and stop by the brewery and say hello. Like the mayor said, we are just right down the street. So I see some familiar faces in here tonight as well. So
well, you're kid friendly and you're also really involved in the community, which is something that I really respect and love about you guys. This is why we support you, because you're always there for the Hyattsville Zombie Walk. You're there for the Cesar Chavez school. You really integrate and support local community, and that's really important. So we appreciate you, and we're so thankful that now everyone gets to know about the dueling grounds.
Yes, yes, it's such a great story to tell. So thank you for allowing us to do that.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everybody.
So if anybody wants to get a quick beer, go ahead and do so now, and then we'll get back on to the agenda. Thank you. Bye. Don't forget to get a beer to go.
Speaking of the beer days, sorry, I feel like they get a little cooler, but you have.
I've met you before, right? Yes, because you have the business. Yes. So these are all your neighbors. If you haven't met them before. Well, I might ask you to be a part of some of our committees. Yeah, he's like, I said I had time. I didn't say that I was gonna do anything. All right. So if everyone has their beer, let's get back to the agenda. Okay, so we have the consent agenda. I don't know if you all have had a chance to take a look at it. But if there's anything that you want to pull out, or if you have any questions, I'll give you a minute to kind of look through and let me know if there's anything that you want to discuss that's on the consent agenda. Okay. Is there anything that anybody wants to pull out or you have a question about? Hmm? No, just the consent agenda. Okay, if there are none, then I'd like to request a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Councilmember Emirates, I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Funny Roca, second.
I'll open it up for discussion. Is there any discussion? Okay, I'll go ahead and request a vote. So all in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays, abstentions? Okay, thank you. So we'll go ahead and jump into the mayor's report. So let me go ahead and pull up my PowerPoint. It'll come up on the screen shortly. Okay, so in regards to meetings for this month, um, myself and Allison were really lucky. We're part of the National Association for Latino Elected Officials, and we received a scholarship to go to Los Angeles for a conference that was titled "Shaping the Economic Success for Latinas in the U.S." And so we were able to stay there for a couple of days and we met different elected officials from around the country. And for me, participating in these types of conferences and meeting people, elected officials from around the country, is really eye opening and it helps me see what other states and municipalities are doing. So, for example, the last time I went to one of these conferences, I met the mayor of a town in Rhode Island, and that's where I got the idea of doing these code enforcement workshops. And this whole notion of equity when it comes to code compliance. We don't want to penalize people who may not know what the laws or rules are when you live in a town, especially new homeowners. And this whole notion of creating a space for people to learn as opposed to being penalized for not knowing the law, I think is something that I want to continue to develop in our town. But that's just an example of the type of information and exposure that I get when I go to these conferences. In regards to other meetings, MML, the Maryland Municipal League, hosted a meeting in Frederick, and we were able to, I'll show pictures in a little bit. We were able to tour an asphalt factory, which was pretty cool, especially considering that we're going to be repaving some of our roads in town, and we've done some already. So that was great. And then we've just had different meetings with different committees of the town and events that we've had here. But I also want to take a moment to share an update with everyone. As of May 12th, the town administrator no longer works for the town of Colmar Manor. Greg Holcomb, many people knew him. So he's no longer with our town, but we are really grateful for their service to our community, and we wish him all the best in his future endeavors. As we move forward, we're actively working to identify an interim town administrator to help guide our operations during this transition. We have lots of projects, and we want to make sure that they don't fall to the wayside, that we don't lose any money, and that we're efficient in continuing all of these projects and ideas that we have planned for the town. At the same time, we'll begin looking for a permanent town administrator. So we'll be searching for a permanent replacement, and we will keep both staff members and residents updated as that timeline becomes a little clearer. I'll keep you all in the loop. You'll hear from me frequently at these meetings, or if you ever want to stop by the office, or if you want to call me, feel free to call me and just ask me how it's going, or if you know of anyone, of any town administrators, let me know. For a very long time, the town didn't have a town administrator, and so one of the things that we did when I first became elected, we hired a town administrator, and he was with us for a good 3 years, close to 3 years. Luckily, I've been speaking to a couple of other people, and we do have a couple of people interested in being our interim town administrator. So where I was kind of nervous that we wouldn't have anyone, people have come out of the woodwork to say, actually, we're really interested in working for your town. So that to me is a blessing. I'm super excited about that. I also want to extend my heartfelt thanks to our incredible town staff. So many of you don't really see what we do sometimes, but trust me when I tell you that there's tears, sweat, and blood that goes into the work that we do. And when I've had my mini breakdowns, when I'm coming here and I'm just like breaking down crying because I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. They're the ones that really are the wind underneath my wings, and they hold it down. So I just want to give a huge thank you to our clerk and treasurer, Mr. Baden. If you've never met him, he's worked for the town for 30 years, 35 years. So he knows the town inside and out, and he's only 35. But literally, if you have any questions about the town, if I ever need to call him about anything, he's available whenever I call him. Even now, with a bum knee, he's here with crutches. But I also want to give a huge thank you to Ilhan, who's in our office. If you haven't met her, she's amazing. She's been holding down the fort, like literally holding everything down. Al Neiman, who is the head of our public works, our building has had a number of leaks and sewage issues within the past week. And Al has been here over the weekend, in the evenings, early in the morning. Sometimes, I just see him randomly doing things on his off time. And we're just so lucky. He lives in town and he really cares for the town. So I'm really grateful to Al Neiman. So just as a message to them, you've gone above and beyond to keep things running smoothly, and I want you to know there's no better team I'd rather be working with, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you very much. So that is that. And I always like to kind of share pictures of our past events. So I don't know if you don't see it here. Let me go ahead and, whoops. I don't know why it's not showing up. So here, okay, we go. Oh, share. Okay, share my screen. Okay, so let's see if it shows. Yeah. Okay. So we had our Easter event in April. So I just want to thank Chief and Public Works and obviously our rec coordinator extraordinaire Amelia Langberg. We had a really fun time. The kids really enjoyed coming out, and you know, they looked for their eggs, and we gave little baskets. So that was really really cool. The American Legion also had the most delicious shrimp feast. So if you haven't gone to the American Legion, they have bingo on Monday nights. They have steak night. They had a shrimp feast, and it was all you can eat shrimp, and the shrimp was really yummy. We're continuing the dinner with a doctor. So here you'll see some of the staff from MedStar. They've been great partners. This time around, the topic was blood pressure and hypertension, and they do some screening. So they'll take they'll prick your finger to check for your sugar levels. They'll do a blood pressure check, and then they'll do a little presentation on some type of a health topic, and then we eat a healthy dinner together. And after dinner, you can stick around and ask whatever questions you have in regards to health. And people have lots of questions. So I'm just thankful that we have this collaboration with MedStar. And, you know, if you haven't been to MedStar, you should go. They're right here on Bladensburg Road. You can walk there from the town. My primary care doctor is there, and they've been amazing. This is a photo of the asphalt factory Pleasance in Frederick. These are some local mayors, Mayor of Rockville, Pocomoke City, Mayor of Greenbelt, Mayor of Gaithersburg. So we all got a chance to go to this asphalt factory, which was really cool. And we got to see a quarry, which was huge. This is Councilmember Fanny and myself at the conference in LA. We've been working with a group called El Poder de Ser Mujer, which is in English, it translates to the power of being a woman. And they have lots of classes. This one in particular was a baking class. So for women that want to bake professionally as a business, they hosted some classes here to certify women and then to help them start their own businesses. We need money to be able to fund it if we're going to do it again. I don't remember, but I can get back to you on it. The Hispanic Outreach Committee hosted a Mother's Day event, and I hope that next time we have it, that you come. So we played this game that in Spanish is called Loteria, which is like bingo. And then we played another game that's called Serpents and Ladders, which is like Chutes and Ladders, and that was a lot of fun. And I just want to give a huge shout out to End Time Harvest Ministries and Reverend Gail Addison. They host a program for the youth where you start in 9th grade and you end in 12th grade, and it includes the parents. So they do different community projects throughout the years, and they do a lot of them in our town. So they meet here at our town hall, but they always help with like any town events that we have, but also at our community gardens. And we have these twins that live in town, Daniel and David, I think last name is Rodriguez. They graduated from that program, and in addition to being a part of the program, they get scholarships for college. So it's really an amazing program. And I just want to thank Aaron for coming with me and other town residents that came with me. Yeah. And then something that we've started doing that's really been a lot of fun is we've been having these community bicycle rides. So we meet at the American Legion, and then we take a ride all the way up to College Park. We stopped at the farmers market, and then we made our way to the College Park Aviation Museum. And that was so much fun, and it was such a beautiful day. It's the second time that we've done this. Chief Stone, thank you so much. It's just a great way to experience not just our towns, but other towns and the trail, the bicycle trail. That's super easy to take, and it's good exercise, and it's really nice to be out in nature. So we hope that you'll join us. We're gonna start doing these the third Saturday of every month. And I just want to give a big shout out to Council Member Glenn Harris and Council Member Juan Milian of Brentwood, the town of Brentwood. They called me up and they said, "Hey, we have a couple trees that we want to give away. Do you know anyone that wants some?" And so I put in the town WhatsApp group and I said, "Anybody want trees?" And we got two residents, actually more than two, but they only had two to give me. And so we went ahead and gave those out. And then finally, I just want to give a huge congratulations to Councilmember Pages and Councilmember Mendoza, who graduated from the MNC PPC Neighborhood Planning Academy for the spring 2025 cohort. So they met for, I think, 3 months, and they learned all about planning, neighborhood planning. So I just want to congratulate you guys for being a part of that. So. And I think that's it for me. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Councilmember Mendoza. Councilmember Pages?
Sorry. Yes, I'll start with what the mayor said, that Melinda and I, we went to the Neighborhood Planning Academy graduation. And after we were accepted into the academy, we completed a series of online classes. We graduated on Wednesday, April 30th, learning how to use pgatlas.com and how to prepare a presentation for the planning commissioners can come in handy for the town of Colmar Manor. And not too long ago, our town opposed the installation of a gas station here. 62 people graduated. When I mentioned that you opposed the gas station, I'm talking about the car wash, Lucky Mart. I went a couple days ago to the meeting. It was called a pre-application neighborhood meeting. And I have a picture of us meeting. I don't know if you can see the three men there. I think you were there, correct? Yes, you were. And a couple other, we were about, I'd say 8 people that met at the parking lot of McDonald's. The reason we met at the parking lot of McDonald's is because from McDonald's all the way to after Lucky Mart, that abandoned house and garage, all of that is considered one parcel, parcel H. Now, they already applied for the first subdivision, which would be between MedStar Health and the rest, meaning Lucky Mart Car Wash and that abandoned building. Now we met at McDonald's because the second subdivision is they want to separate McDonald's from MedStar Health. So now we would have 3 parcels. The proposed parcel L is 1.747 acres, and proposed parcel K is 1.3431 acres. And I'm not sure if our residents are aware, but Michael's, it's a real estate company, a commercial real estate company. They currently have for sale the proposed parcel, meaning the abandoned car wash, Lucky Mart, and the abandoned building with the garage. They're looking to sell it for between $2 and $2.5 million. They do have an interested party, but they can't sell it until the subdivision is complete. And there's still a couple months left to go before Park and Planning will approve that. But I shall keep you posted, because let's hope we have great development. It is NAC. That's the zoning for it. And the NAC zoning is called Neighborhood Activity Center. So I'm pretty sure another gas station will not be coming our way. And then the other picture I have is Senator Augenstein, who was just here. He has a quarterly meeting at IHOP right here in Colmar Manor. There, I don't know if you can see the picture, but we got to meet Ms. Braveboy. She's looking to replace Angela Alsobrooks. And I do love Senator Augenstein because I did get to have a question, and I spoke to the fact that the park of Colmar Manor is beautiful, but it is built on, a garbage field. It was filled. And we have not had the soil tested for decades, and they're thinking about digging for the maglev. So I brought all of that to their attention. And boy, did Senator Augenstein, after I was done asking my question, he ran with it and added much more to it because he's so much more informed. So I am pretty sure between me and Senator Augenstein, Ms. Braveboy understands our view about the maglev because she said she was open. Hopefully she's not open anymore. Anyways, that was a very interesting meeting. We had also, we have the town budget that we had on our last work session, and we had a town budget hearing the day, what day was that? May 10th, I think. Nobody showed up, but we did have the budget hearing and a budget discussion afterwards. I don't know if, for the record, you can see how we all voted. The only thing I really voted against was a police vehicle. And then after that, I moved to spend less when I could, when that didn't go through. But that was the only objection I had. Officer Chavez has left us. I met him 2 years before I became a council person. He was very helpful. I locked myself out of my car, and against all odds, he helped me get in there. So he left us, and I'm very sorry to see him go. Now that leaves a question, since we are doing the budget, if we want to continue to have his position in the budget or not. Hopefully we can discuss that before we vote on the budget. Also, I am extremely, extremely sad to see that Greg Holcomb has left us. It really breaks my heart. He was a very productive and very helpful person. And then I always end my little report with a shout out to somebody in our community, which you can see, I have my phone number up there. Oh, you don't have that on there. Excuse me. You don't have my report on there? Yeah, because my phone number is on my.
It's okay. You can find it on the newsletter, you can find it online.
Okay, so my phone number is on here. It's just, please remember to reach out to me, 301-461-9122, or apages@colmarmanor.org if you would like to highlight someone or highlight your business. We like to support local businesses. Right now, we'd like to highlight the people who run the American Legion in our town. They help to create a sense of community. The first Wednesday of every month is steak night, where you can get a copious steak dinner for just $20, I think $25. Every Monday is shotgun bingo, where you have a chance to win money and also enjoy the meal they prepared, usually around $10, or just come to enjoy the company of the good people there. And that, as you can attest, my friends here go to shotgun bingo. It is great. I hope to see everybody there. It's Mondays at 7. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you. Ward 3?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I just have a couple brief updates to share. First off, just wanted to share, if you haven't seen it yet, we have completed construction on the permeable intersection at 43rd in Newark. The intersection was closed for several weeks, and I'm very sorry for the disruption. Very grateful for your patience. It's just one more effort to continue to try and make the town a little greener, a little more environmentally friendly, but obviously it does take work, and occasionally that gets in the way of our daily living. But very excited to see that put in place. Also wanted to mention what Council Member Pages had shared about the District 47 municipal meeting that happened at IHOP. It was a great opportunity to bring together a lot of local municipal leaders, talk about some of the different things that are very near and dear to us. Again, a lot of activity that was taking place this legislative session. There's a lot of ongoing conversation about the maglev. There's a lot of opposition to it because of a wide range of potential negative impacts to the community. And so we continue to work through that and work with our elected leaders to make sure that decisions are made that benefit the communities in Prince George's County. As well, just wanted to mention that summer is heating up. We're still kind of at the tail end of spring, but in this area, it very quickly gets into the heat of summer. With that, on the positive side, there's a lot of sun, there's a lot of flowers, the pools start opening up. On the negative side, it starts to get brutal and very humid outside. Please make sure you're taking care of yourselves. Please make sure you're taking care of your pets, animals that are staying outside. The heat will really start to tick up and get very intense over the coming months. So please make sure you're just taking care of yourself and those around you. As well, making progress on the town budget. We're going to be discussing that and potentially voting this evening, looking to get that wrapped up as we come to the close of the current fiscal year. And then lastly, next month in June, we'll be having the MML Summer Conference. This is a fantastic learning opportunity for us here on council. It's only possible through the tax dollars of our community residents. And so, you know, it is through your efforts and your contributions that we are able to more effectively perform in our role and serve you all. And so I just wanted to offer a tremendous thank you to everyone that lives here in Colmar Manor. And that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ward 4?
I don't have a big report, but I just wanted to say, just remind everybody to, keep your eye open. If you see something, just report it. Or if you need help, call the police. They're always here. And that's it for this time. I don't think this is working. It's not working. Yeah.
Okay, so that is it for the mayor and council reports and concerns. I'd like to go ahead and open it up now for resident comments. So if you're a resident and you have a question or you want to comment, just come up to the mic. Give your name and the street that you live on. If you're online, just raise your hand online and we'll go ahead and call on you. Just remember that you have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and fellow community members. My name is CJ. I'm a local resident. I've been living in Colmar Manor since 2022. And I just wanted to take a moment to bring up a topic that I think impacts the community and the residents. And that's the train noise.
Can you speak up, please?
Sorry, I can speak up. Sounds a little low. I can project. Yeah. The topic I wanted to bring up briefly is the train noise. As much as the train is a charming part of our community and the history of the town, I wanted to know if the town has ever considered a noise ordinance or done any research around that. I don't have to explain in detail the nuisance that the noise is. And since living here, since 2022, I didn't realize how much of a nuisance it was until I had my daughter. And as I am contemplating what to do or how to address this issue, how I can take initiative while I'm trying to put her back down at 2 a.m. I figured I'd come to the council meeting rather, and ask if the council or you, Mayor, have considered something that Riverdale Park has actually had in place since 2018, which is a noise ordinance. I don't know if the frequency of the trains that happen between 1, 2, and sometimes 3 a.m. Is, I don't know whether they're operating within the proper noise ordinance. And so I wanted to take initiative and ask the question. I have a briefing sheet here that explains a little bit more and gives a little bit more context to what I feel the issue is and some potential solutions to it. So I can share that with you afterwards. But I hope the seasoned residents aren't rolling their eyes. I know that the general advice is kind of, it comes with the town. If you move here, it's a train. But I just want to make sure that they are operating within the grounds for train operation at that time of night. That's number one. Number two, real briefly, as a community resident, grocery stores are obviously very important to the residents. The grocery store around the corner, very irregular in terms of their inventory. And that unpredictability is impacting my family specifically. And I'm sure others as well, where you don't know whether they're going to have stocked groceries on the shelves or not from week to week. I understand that currently they're under new management, whatever that means. So my question is, what can be done about the irregularity of the grocery store, the high prices that are being charged in the grocery store? At sometimes I've gone in and seen, it appears that they purchased Costco goods and then resold them as their own. It makes no sense to me, and I believe that the town deserves more consistent business. You go to any other community in Mount Rainier, Riverdale Park, they don't have those issues, so why should we? So those are my questions. Again, I have a briefing sheet here with a little bit more information and context, and I'm here because I'm not just a complainer. I want to take initiative and see how I can help as well. So again, my name is CJ, and I look forward to talking to you all after the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, CJ.
I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm just gonna comment real quick. CJ, I just wanna say how much I appreciate you, and I really appreciate. I'm looking forward to looking at those briefing documents. When it comes to the train issue, I think that's something that we've been dealing with for forever, and you're not the only one that has brought it up. There are laws, and I think that maybe at some point we tried to do something and we were successful at it, but there are certain things that we can't do. But I think it's valid to kind of look into it again. In regards to the supermarket, we don't have a lot of control over the businesses over there. The control that we have is taxing them. That's the control that we as a council and as a town have. From what I was made aware of, I thought they were out of business. I didn't even know, are they out of business? They're going through to, so there's a gentleman, his name is Rufus Lusk, and he and his partners own that shopping center along with the IHOP. And I'm meeting with him in June. I've spoken to him. He's a great community stakeholder. But I've been getting briefings from him about what's going to happen there. So I'm hoping that I'll get a little bit more clarity on what's going to be happening there. But at the end of the day, we can't tell them who they can like lease their space out to. But I think it's valid to have our voices heard.
Exactly. And my only concern is the creation of food deserts, the access to healthy foods. Again, while the Costco is relatively close, if you don't have a membership, obviously you can't access that. And again, it doesn't make sense to me for us to have that grocery store space there and not have a grocery store
Yeah.
there. It just doesn't make any sense. So I look forward to communicating more with you after this to see how I can be of some assistance to make some change.
All right. I already have an idea.
May I,
You're going to join our green team. You don't know this, so I'm telling you now. You're joining our green team.
may I comment?
Yeah.
So I participated, CJ, in that neighborhood planning academy. And when I participated there, I had a final project. So I picked the $2.5 million project, and I made it abundantly clear that we live in a food desert and that I would like to see a food co-op in a mixed-use facility, you know, with the apartments on top and the businesses down below. That we like in Mount Rainier, they have Glut. I mean, any type of food co-op. I just came from visiting my daughter in Pittsburgh. They have a food co-op where you get everything fresh and then you pay what you want at the cash register. I mean, there's all types of food co-ops, but that's something I have really stressed. And two of the planning commissioners were at graduation, and he said, I have my eye on that spot. So let's just hope we have a little bit of say.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Are there any comments? Yeah.
Good evening. My name's Tom Litke. I'm not a resident, so I feel like I'm a lawbreaker by doing this, but I did want to introduce myself. I've been working with the town administrators for all of the port towns, and you are the fourth stop on the trail. So I wanted to come say hello. And you probably bicycled by my house. I live up College Park. But I did want to introduce it. I didn't see any other place in the agenda to kind of take that moment. And I do almost feel like a part-time resident. I've been playing rugby on your fields for 20-something years. So thank you for sharing those. We had received a contract to help establish a new community development corporation. I don't want to get into food co-ops and deserts right now, but that is something they're allowed to do. But I'm not here to make promises and things like that. But we've been helping small business support in and around this area for about 10 years as a group just over the border in DC. And it was nice to see Brandon here today. And I want to apologize to him. We helped export beer to Japan for him. If I had known Bladensburg and Colmar Manor and Cottage City wanted that beer, I wouldn't have shipped it all the way across the world for him. So we do a lot of small business support. But my main interest was to let you know that I was around, and I wanted to just say hello to people and kind of see what we're doing to help establish more of a new group that helps with address sustainability issues. I've been on the green infrastructure tours. I'm active with sustainable communities. And like I said, we've been doing this in DC and a little bit of Calvert County for a while, addressing stormwater and flood issues, connectivity through transportation. And that's why I'd reached out to some of the other town administrators a few years back, and why we're just picking up this conversation now. So didn't want to steal the microphone, but since I have a captive audience here, I wanted to say hello. So.
And what is your last name? I didn't catch it.
It's Litke.
How do you spell that?
Litke.
Litke.
Litke. And the group is Common Resilience Partners. We address community resilience issues, usually based in economic concerns like small business support, and in environmental issues like stormwater, kind of taking away the public spaces that, I'd say like the dueling grounds is challenged with at times. It's a difficult space to use if you can't manage the water around it. So we do have a whole team of consultants that are active. We shy away from that word consultants though, because we're not here to kind of give advice and take off. We see it as a long-term relationship and helping form Main Street programs, sustainable communities, and we've had a lot of success. So.
Have we met people?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
We have. I didn't want to make it too awkward, but yeah.
I would love your card.
Yeah. And yeah. And so along the way, I definitely walk the neighborhoods, and I joke you bike by my house if you went to the aviation museum practically.
Yeah.
So next time I'll put out beer and lemonade for you all.
And did you say, are you the current town administrator in College Park or?
No,
oh, okay.
no. I just happen to live there.
Okay.
But yeah, we're just above Riverdale Park where I'm personally are. We're based out of there, but I manage and own a co-working space just inside the DC border.
Oh.
I rehab storefront improvements. I've probably done about 200 in DC through the contract crews we have. So these are different ways we kind of address both the buildings and the business. So
business
kind of stuff we thought you'd like. So that's why we reached out a while back. So.
Yeah.
The name of your group,
I'll share it with you.
Okay.
Do you have a business card?
Yeah, sure. I just didn't want to turn this into a sales pitch.
No.
Hey. But yeah, no, I'm
we're all
happy to
for
be
it.
here. And like I said, I'm happy to talk to everyone. I just didn't want to steal all the time.
All right.
So thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Mayor, just so the council is also aware, Resolution R16-2025 for the Community Development Corporation Technical Assistance Grant. Common Resilience is the contractor that they are looking to use for that, and that's on the agenda for your action later on tonight.
Is his microphone?
Thank you so much. All right, are there any other comments? Any resident comments? Mr. Thomas, is there anyone online that has a question? Okay.
I don't know what Dan was saying.
No, the resolution.
James Thomas, 42nd Avenue. I understand Pepco owns the streetlights, right? Who pays for the electricity? The town? Can Pepco be encouraged to use or change their lighting from the yellow lights to the bright white lights?
So you can do it, but we have to pay for it.
I mean, is it possible to do?
It's possible.
I mean, would the town be willing to do it?
Depends on how much it costs.
True, I guess like everything else. But my concern is safety. The yellow lights, I don't feel, they don't brighten areas up. There's an area where I live at, you know, the Colmar Manor Bible Church. It's very dark in that area. Street light is right there, but around that church is very dark.
So your feedback is that you'd like to have them switched over from the yellow to the white?
Yeah, brighter lights. You familiar with the light at Burger King? Bright as can be. Those type of lights should be on the streets.
So I'll definitely put that on the list for our interim town administrator to look into.
Okay, thank you very much.
And that's throughout the whole town? Throughout the whole town?
Because those lights are kind of,
If your request is just on your block with the entire town.
Oh, the entire town?
yeah.
Yeah, entire
It's
town.
around the whole town. Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure the yellow lights are all over the town.
Yeah, and they're not bright, because I've been walking around late and early in the morning, and those lights are really like minimum.
Right,
Sharp,
yeah.
All right, we'll
Okay.
definitely look into it, Mr. Thomas, but I appreciate you bringing that up.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Are there any other comments? Nothing else? Okay, if there are no other resident comments, let's go on to the action item on the agenda, which is unfinished business, the FY 2026 budget. So I'll go ahead and ask Mr. Bailey to go through that section.
Yep, so the actual action item should be the adoption of ordinance 07-2025. This is the annual budget and levy ordinance that was introduced at the April 1st work session. There's been numerous meetings prior to the introduction as well as since the introduction, including the budget hearing that was held a week ago Friday on May the 9th, which was the budget hearing. The draft of the budget that you have in front of you and was on the table over in the room is the draft based on the any changes that have been made up to this point. Really, there was only one change made at the meeting on the 9th, and that was to designate $30,000 to the to an annexation study. So at this point, you know, with having you know, a lot of meetings up to this point, it would be appropriate to have a motion to adopt the budget as presented in a second. And then you could have any other discussions. And if you decide to have any other changes, you could do so at that time. But I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. As I said, we've discussed it at numerous meetings up to this point. If you do have any questions specific, I will answer those.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Baden. It's 8:20, it's gonna be 8:20 PM. So as Mr. Baden said, I'm gonna request a motion to approve the budget. We'll then open it up for discussion. Any and all the questions you have,
We'll be on discussion.
you can do then.
Mhm.
And if we have any additions or recommendations, that's where you do it. And then we can vote on it and whatever happens, happens. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, so I'd like to request a motion to approve and pass ordinance O-07-2025, the 2025-2026 annual budget and levy.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I will make that motion stated.
Franny Roque, I second it.
Okay, so let's go ahead and open it up for discussion. So what discussion is there on the budget?
Sophia? Since Officer Chavez left us, I know his position is part of the budget, and I thought maybe we could take this opportunity to remove that position from the budget. So I would move to remove that position from the budget or open it up to discussion.
If you're discussing the budget, I don't think you need to make a motion at this time. If you just want to hear what the other council members and staff think about that idea, and then based on that feedback, if you deem that you want to make a motion, that would be the appropriate time. But I think you would hear what everyone else has to say first, and then make the motion if you want to.
That's what I said. I'd like to move to discuss this.
We're already-
I don't move, okay, I'd like to open up to discussion.
We're discussing it now.
Okay.
So personally, I would not approve that.
Microphone, ma'am.
Thank you. So personally, I would not approve that. I think that we need the officer. There's no change. We're not adding money. And I also get a lot of requests about hiring more police. So our community, at least to me, are always asking us for more police. We don't have 24, we don't offer 24-hour policing. And so I think it's not in our best interest to not fill the empty position. Does anyone else have any thoughts about this?
I'll generally share, Councilmember Emirates-Worthy, I'll generally share that I can understand sort of the concerns of town residents and that they're seeking additional policing because they want to feel safer in the community. There are a lot of studies in a lot of places in Prince George's County and around the world over an extended period of time that increasing policing has almost no direct correlation on an increase or decrease in crime. And in fact, it's more about increasing the availability of social services and resources to residents that tends to have a much more significant impact on the overall safety of a community. So while I understand it can often seem like the easiest solution to just put more police on the streets, and that means that crime isn't going to happen, that's just not the way it works in reality. I think a very easy way to look at that is that in any major city, you have billions of dollars going into police forces, and they certainly still experience crime, I would say, in far greater scale than our town of Colmar Manor. So, you know, I'd be curious to hear from the chief sort of about any concerns around staffing shortages, because I know we do have a relatively small police force. And so if we were to remove a position from that roster, I'm curious to hear what the potential impact might be, you know, what can kind of be shared at a glance. But ultimately, I do just want to stress that there really needs to be a view on a much larger picture for what ultimately makes a town safe and what makes residents less prone to crime.
Thank you. A couple things. I've been chief of police in the town of Colmar Manor for just over 5 years. Have spoken with many residents, many homeowners, which are often different, many business operators, many employees, and not one time have I heard a comment, "Chief, we got too many police officers. Can you cut back?" We're a part-time police department, are not 24/7. So if you take an officer away, it's going to take an officer off the street. We're not like a larger agency that has officers behind the scenes, that if you cut in their force, that they disappear, say someone from the property room or someone from communications or someone from the desk. If you cut from our staff, you're just not going to see them. The town is in a very fortunate position this year in that we have a surplus. This is also the first year that we have had both speed cameras and stop sign cameras. I think everybody's familiar with the stop sign cameras, but that's another story. And that was, those were put in place again this fiscal year at the urging of the Public Safety Department. That would be us. I have 3 police officers, including myself, that approved those citations. Between the 2 systems, there have been, just a big number here, 24,000 citations that have come through. Each one of those require to be viewed by a staff member and approve it or disapprove it. Those were put in place in the name of public safety. And now to suggest that we reduce our public safety, I think it implies that was really a disingenuous vote to put them in place in the first place.
I wasn't thinking about that, the citations. I was thinking 1,600 residents, 4 full-time police, 2 part-time police, and a private security system. So I was thinking it in general. But if you're taking up a lot of your time with citations, then that would suggest.
And it's not just that.
That we need that.
Of the approval of the citations, because it's certainly, they were put in there, in my opinion, for public safety. And particularly the stop sign cameras have worked. If anybody's watched those, the stop signs, folks are stopping. But to remove a police officer from, it's going to take somebody off the street. And again, I have yet to receive one comment. Chief Stone, you got too many folks out there.
Yeah, I also agree with Mayor and Chief Stone. I don't want to lose the police. I want actually more police around this area because I have seen a lot of people from another area in here. I'm very concerned because I see people walking around, and I know, I forgot the name of 2 police officer. They're always there, but there's some people who are coming to our town, walking around, and those are new people to me, you know. And I don't want to lose the police. I want more police, actually.
Councilwoman Mendoza, do you have any thoughts?
I agree. I would want
Microphones, if you not on the, sorry.
No, I just said that I agree that I would not want that position taken out of the budget.
So I agree with Councilmember Emirates. I do believe in data. I do believe in these studies. I think that we need to have time, and we need to maybe from this point on really start capturing this data and see what else can we do, because I also agree, so I get blame thrown on me that we have too many events, right? That our town has too many events. That's one of the criticisms or critiques that I receive. My purpose behind our events is so that neighbors get to know one another. Because when they're not here in these seats, they're at the events. And when they're at the events, they're with their families. And they feel like they can talk to and meet the chief of police. They feel like they can come and talk to us. And that's where they feel more comfortable with their complaints or with their feedback. So I agree with what you're saying, and maybe we can plan towards looking at that. But for me, I think we keep it as it is. We don't remove, we don't increase. We keep it as it is. There's no
Right. And I
change.
was just thinking, and now we have different perspectives. I was just thinking at a budget point of view because we don't have a lot of money. And we do have Prince George's County Police. So I was looking at it as a budget thing because every policeman has his own personal car. We pay for the maintenance. We pay for body cameras. It gets extremely expensive. It's not just having an extra policeman. It's the car of the policeman, all of the outfitting. So I was just looking at it as a budget point of view only, thinking we also have Prince George's County Police to back us up. And I apologize for that. I didn't mean any offense to anyone. I'd rather have it, but I just was looking at budget because we really don't have a lot of money. We're a very small town of 1,600 people.
Okay, are there any other questions in regards to the budget? I think you were about to make a comment. Were you about to make a comment? No, okay.
Are we voting? Oh, no, okay.
Are there any other questions in regards to the budget? Anything else that you want to pull out?
I vote on that, I guess, no. Okay.
Okay. So before we vote on anything, we always allow public comments.
Okay.
So the public, in person or virtually, if you have a comment before we pass our budget, or not pass it, I don't know what's gonna happen. Feel free to come up to the mic, your name, street you live on, and make your comment, your question. Also online, just raise your hand.
Ashley Cummings, Newton Street. First time here at the council meeting. Been a resident of Colmar Manor almost 10 years. And so I just want to comment on Chief Stone's kind of practices here in terms of the approval of really the 25,000 violations. I just kind of want to understand for my point of view what that involves, what it entails, because it seems like you created a lot of work. And I just want to understand the cost benefits of these new kind of enforcements in our community.
Well, those are between the speed cameras, which are just on Bladensburg Road, and the stop sign cameras, which are in town. And it probably takes, the 24,000 is a big number, but let's say it's about 2 hours a day of someone's time to review those. And what that involves is there's a vendor associated with each of those automated systems, one being the stop sign, one being the speed cameras. They have the cameras and then they send us the data. They send us the pictures, and an officer has to review it and make sure that the tag number matches the vehicle and that there's a violation. Whether it's speed, it has to be over 42 miles an hour on Bladensburg Road, because they issue at, they give you the first 11. I say they, it's actually we give you the first 11, and then at 12 they're issued. And then the stop sign, someone reviews it to see that the tag number matches the vehicle and that there's a violation, that there was not a stop at the stop sign. So it's a lot of citations. Time, it's about 2 hours a day total. We've got 3 people doing it.
And also, we've talked about the stop sign, but also just bringing it up again, Bladensburg Road, people like to cut through our town. And when they cut through our town, they don't respect our stop signs. And so I see a lot of speeding. And most of those citations are issued to people who don't live in town. Is that correct, Chief?
Yes, we did a study because that was a concern. I got a few complaints or concerns that the way the stop sign cameras are, it's targeting town residents and not targeting anybody except for stop sign runners. So after the first month or so, we looked at the numbers as they were issued, whether they be in town, local, being, we look at specifically in town, local being the 20722 zip code, which covers Colmar Manor, Cottage City, Brentwood, North Brentwood, and I'm gonna get my numbers wrong here, but I think in-town residents were about 12%, local about 17%, and the rest of them not in the immediate area. So it's a lot of not just cut through traffic, because a lot of those are visitors. They're not town residents. They're coming in to see somebody and not stopping.
But
And the number of in-town residents have significantly reduced. I think if we ran the numbers again, we'd probably down to like 5%.
yeah, so it's good feedback and a good question. And just FYI, the Avio people, those are the people that service the cameras. They're coming in June to give us an update and to show us the numbers. Just FYI. Okay, are there any other comments or questions in regards to the budget? I'm gonna take a quick look at the budget just in case I have anything real quick. I think we have a report that talks about what we were focusing on this year when it comes to the budget. I think we have it posted online on our website. And we have some copies in the office that I can bring out later. All right, so I don't have any comments, or I don't have any questions. All right, so if there is no further discussion, I'll go ahead and request a vote. So we'll do a roll call vote. So I guess Ward 1.
Yes.
Ward 2. To approve the budget.
Aye. Yes.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
And Mayor votes aye. So the resolution passes and we approve the budget. Yes! Thank God. Thank you guys. This is not easy stuff. It's not. And there's a lot of fighting that you guys don't see behind the scenes. Like we're at each other's throats. We're polite here, kind of, but behind the scenes, but we still work together. So thank you so much for all the time and the questions. Thank you for the questions, okay? I appreciate it. Okay, so back to the agenda under new business. We have resolution 16/2025, which is the CDC assistance grant. So this is it's in your packet. So this is a resolution in support of the operating assistance grant application for technical assistance funding through the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. So it's in partnership with the towns of Bladensburg, Cottage City, Edmonston, collectively known as the Port Towns, resolving to establish and support a Unified Community Development Corporation, a CDC, which is dedicated to fostering regional collaboration and driving inclusive economic transformation, and it's looking to secure a technical assistance grant funding from the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development in the amount of $50,000 to support operating and technical needs as part of the continued progress around economic development and housing strategy implementation. Is there anything that I'm missing or any further explanation? So it's just a resolution allowing the CDC to go after this grant. So I'd like to request a motion to accept this resolution.
Allison Pages, Ward 2, I move to accept the resolution R 16/2025.
Councilmember Emirates, I'll second that motion.
Okay, so I'll open it up for discussion.
Yeah, just one question / concern. Just want to make sure that for this grant, we are not committing any in-kind funds that we may or may not be capable of meeting. I'm not sure if that's something that can be answered now, but I'd certainly say as the CDC pursues it, to keep that in mind that we don't want to get into that situation again.
And I have a question. When it says it's designed to assist local governments and nonprofit partners in strengthening operational capacity and advancing critical goals in housing development, economic mobility, and community revitalization, can you give me a concrete example for how that happens? Or like, what are we talking about? Like, what does it look like? No.
Could you repeat the question? And he couldn't hear it.
Okay. Where
It says, whereas the Port Towns remain committed to the core values of the TAG program, including investing in just communities, increasing the supply of mixed income, middle market, supporting generational wealth building. So what are examples of that? Yeah.
Yeah, if you could come up.
Hi, Tom Litke, Common Resilience. The intent is, historically, community development corporations are based on improving quality of life. But when they mean transfer of wealth generation, the concern that, let's use the example of small businesses, right? If you're at a structural disadvantage, we were kind of joking about Costco earlier, it's difficult for your kids to make it to the next generation of funding. And that's frequently really the investment plan that most families have when they are a very small business. So for that specific term, it's the idea that you're kind of keeping the money in your own house, so to speak.
But so the housing development, it says it's designed to assist local, in strengthening operational capacity, advancing critical goals in housing development, housing development and community revitalization.
It's broad language based on the shared mission statements of your 4 towns. So everyone sort of believes in wealth development internally. Everyone sort of believes in mixed use development that supports local businesses while having housing. So the language tends to focus on that. The operational capacity, to be candid, is that so that folks like ourselves who we complement town administrators, we're not town administrators. And that's the idea. We can help improve buildings, fix buildings, chase grants on your behalf. Help build committees. The 4 committees that have sort of been proposed have to do with transit and connectivity, which is sort of a common concern for the port towns. One was economic, revitalization or restructuring. I know Bladensburg has, they're really heavily industrial. Edmonton's concern is that it's about half auto shops. So for them, can we balance that out? Doesn't mean it has to be housing. It just means you're sort of taking into consideration all the cast of characters as you move forward.
No, I understand that, but what specifically do you do about it? Like
specifically?
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. This is, to be honest, it's an interesting, having done this in DC a lot and in a couple other states, Massachusetts or Maryland, it tends to sort of like give you money for fixing a building, but then they'll give you a different grant to manage the coordination of that administration. And so, like, for example, I've got a significant grant down in Calvert County, but there's no money to pay staff. This is the one that helps pay for folks like us to help the town administrators who tend to be overly taxed in their time commitment. So, what the group will do is really why I wanted to come out and let people know there's no set pattern about what you'll see a year from now, but you will see committees, you'll see bylaws, you'll see governance structure to a new organization.
Okay, so it wouldn't be like trying to convince the owner of the shopping center that we currently have to have a beautiful mixed-use facility.
I just can't hear. I've got that air conditioning on, that's right.
Okay, thanks, that's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. All right. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, are there any other comments? Okay, if there's no other comments, no other discussion, I'll go ahead and request a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any abstentions, any nays? None, the resolution passes. Thank you. Yep, next resolution is
CDC.
Resolution R-17-2025, a joint resolution of the mayors and councils of the port towns of Bladensburg, Colmar Manor, Cottage City, and Edmonston to form a community development corporation and establish a governance structure. So basically, we had a port town CDC, and this community development corporation, we all jointly would fund it. All the towns would fund it, and they would go after grants and other monies to help different projects within the port towns. An example of that are the big belly trash cans that you see along Bladensburg Road and other projects. That Port Town CDC is in the process of being dissolved. So the towns have decided, we included, the mayors of the towns, to move forward with starting a new CDC. We don't necessarily have a name for it yet. We just know that we want one that is separate from the one that's being dissolved. So that's what this is for.
Okay, Allison Page's Ward 2, I move to advance resolution R17, 2025.
Councilmember Emirates, I'll second that motion.
So I'll open it up for discussion. Are there any questions? Okay, I'll open it up to the public. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, so if there are none, I'll go ahead and request a vote. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, the ayes have it. It passes. I voted aye. The next and last item on the agenda is the town administrator discussion. I'll go ahead and share it on the screen. So we're looking to hire an interim, not a permanent, but an interim town administrator to help us with the various projects that we have. We are very lucky. We have two people that have shown interest in being our interim town administrators. They won't be here full-time. They'll be here part-time because they hold other jobs at different municipalities.
So how often, how many hours per day or the hours? Or?
They're not gonna be here 40 hours a week. They'd be here probably anywhere between 15 to 20 hours a week. So Dan and I have spoken to both of them. One of them is Delane Galloway, who's the town administrator in Cheverly. And I've given you his resume. And then we have Mr. Clayton Reginald Bagley, who is currently the operations manager in Hyattsville. They are both excellent administrators. They're both excellent people. I can see myself working with them. I've developed relationships with them, and this is, I think, one of the reasons why they've decided to come and help the town.
What would their salary, or would it be hourly salary or salary? What would that be?
It would be an hourly rate.
It would be
an hourly rate.
Okay, and do you know what that would be?
I don't at the moment.
Okay.
But we have money budgeted for this, right?
It would be comparable to what the current administrator was making. And there is money budgeted for town administrator, but we did provide some severance for the town administrator that left. So this would be an overlap of salaries, and you would probably need to allocate additional monies to fund the position.
Excuse
at
me,
least
can you
to June
talk into
30th.
the microphone, please? It's just,
Well, I am talking, but it doesn't
yeah,
talk.
yeah.
Yeah. So both of the town administrators said they would accept whatever we offer, but they insinuated that, whatever you're paying your current town administrator would be sufficient. That both of them were here to help us through this time based on their professionalism. As far as whether we have money in the budget, we have money budgeted for a town administrator, but we provided a severance package to the administrator that left. So there will be an overlap of salaries and a budget amendment that would be necessary to cover to June 30th. And going into next year, depending on how long that vacancy is there, we may or may not need a adjustment to that budget, but I do not think that we will.
And do we get to meet them, or?
I mean, not really. They're gonna be interim. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to pick one of them If you have any feedback on any of the resumes, that's fine. I want them to get started, I mean, honestly, as soon as possible. I mean, they're both ready to go. If you take a look on the slide that I have, I wanted to give you an overview of what this whole process looks like for us. So I had mentioned to you, give me 2 weeks to find someone, so we're in week 2. So it would be appointing an interim town administrator. During that time period, month 1 and 2, obviously department reviews and weekly briefings with this individual. Month 2, finalize a job posting for a permanent town administrator and start recruitment. Months 3 to 5, start reviewing applications and start coordinating interviews. Month 6, make create a finalist list, and then depending on who we get, if it's appropriate, we'll make an offer. And then months 7 through 8, we hire the town administrator, we onboard them, and then we announce it to the town.
It takes that long. We couldn't like make it faster.
So there's a saying that goes, you fire quickly and you hire slowly. So I want to make sure that we get the best fit. It could take less time.
And when are we going to post for Melissa's job?
We're talking about the town administrator.
Okay, but before we break up, we should discuss that.
We're talking about the interim, so you have the 2 resumes. If there's anything that stands out, let me know. But I'm hoping to make a decision later tonight. What I'd like to request, either tonight or tomorrow morning, to be honest with you, and they're waiting for my phone call. So I'd like to request a motion to hire an interim town administrator for the next 6 to 8 months. Yeah.
We don't have time to think about this? If we
Think
need
about
more
what?
time?
Yeah, we need someone. So I'd like to request a motion to get your approval to hire an interim town administrator.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I'll make that motion stated.
Bonnie Wilkins, second.
Okay, so I'll open up for discussion. Is there anything else that is needed?
I mean, Councilmember Emirates, to Councilmember Page's point, I received these resumes immediately prior to this meeting that I've been engaged in, so I haven't had any amount of time. I don't know these individuals, so I'm not comfortable making a decision on either of these. I mean, you seem to know them. Is this a position that needs to be appointed by council, or is it appointed by the mayor?
I agree too. I feel like it's.
Excuse me, Fanny's talking.
I agree. Dan's gonna say something and I will.
I would say it's not clear because the town administrator position is not specifically spelled out in the budget. The only position, I'm sorry, in the charter, the positions such as the clerk treasurer, the police chief are spelled out in the charter. The town administrator is not. So outside of a town engineer, police chief, clerk treasurer, those are all appointed by the mayor, approved by the council. All other employees are hired by the mayor. So that's the direct answer for the charter. As far as historically for the full-time administrator, the council did approve it because it was an important position. So it's not clear whether, in my mind, whether or not you need a motion to do it or not, because technically it's not spelled out in the charter, so therefore it falls under the other employees, which the mayor has authority to do the hiring for them.
And Fanny wanted to say something. What did you say?
I agree also because we didn't have enough time to review this and we're just doing it. But it seemed like it's not, we're not the one who make a decision, it's the mayor. So whatever we say, it doesn't matter.
Well, honestly, I'm doing this to be very transparent with you and with our town. So I don't have to ask you, but I am. And we need someone right away. And we have two professional candidates that work in neighboring towns that have done everything and more that we're currently doing in our town. And I feel confident working with either of them. They come both very highly recommended.
Can I just say that, for as long as I've been, an elected official, for Mr. Galloway, he was the interim town manager in Cottage City before he became full-time town manager at Shepherd. Mr. Reginald Bagley, he's been around from Brentwood to St. Pleasant down to Hyattsville. So these guys, they know their stuff. And I'm sure any one of you can reach out to them, to Cheverly and Hyattsville. You wanna feel them out.
I'm looking to hire someone, as I said, immediately because Ilhan has been great and our office staff has been great. I don't want to burn them out. And I feel like if we prolong this, things are gonna start correcting. As I mentioned before, we had leaks in our building over this past week. We've had a lot of issues happening, and that's put a lot of strain on an already difficult situation. Okay, is there any other discussion? Okay, if there's, actually, I'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Are there any questions, any feedback, either in person or virtual? Okay. If there's none, I'll go ahead and request a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Wait, what are we voting on?
On,
We take a roll call vote.
okay, so let's do a roll call vote.
Yeah,
Vote.
sorry, this is a.
I didn't understand what we were voting on.
Interim.
Motion to allow the mayor to hire an interim town
I'm
administrator.
not sure yet. Which,
This is just about to authorize you to hire.
Okay, yeah.
okay. So Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 2?
I abstain.
Ward 3?
Aye.
Ward 4? Aye. Mayor votes aye. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and email you all and let you know who we decide to hire. And then I'll coordinate an introduction. And then at our next town meeting, we'll introduce them to the town. I've already made our staff aware of these two individuals. And then thank God we'll get someone that is gonna help us with the amount of work that we have going.
And I think it's better if you make the decision yourself because that was one of the issues with the previous one. So I think it's better. So you'll be deciding, correct? Because you have to work with them every day.
To be honest with you, I'm counting on Dan because we've both spoken to each candidate, and then we'll decide from there who we want to go with.
And then you'll let us know whenever you decide.
Yeah. Okay, so there's nothing else on the agenda. So I'd like to request a motion to
Councilmember Emirates, I'll make the motion to adjourn our meeting.
Fanny Roque, second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you so much. Thank you.